Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's Dr. Dan, motor scientist. Hope you're all well. Just got out of work and it's been a really great day, really great afternoon actually. Learning quite a lot about the climate fresque, so we will talk about that shortly. Let's roll the intro. Alright, hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dr. Dan, motor scientist. It's nice to have you with us, with me, here, whatever, one of those. Hope you're all well anyway. It's been a really great day today, really quite interesting afternoon. Putting our current knowledge of climate change from a scientific perspective and just a general living in this environment perspective. It's quite interesting. So it's called Climate Fresque. It started a few years ago, and it's all about education and getting a commitment towards doing something about climate change, which, as you know, is a huge inevitable global issue that we could all contribute to tackling. So it's a bit of training on, well, it's a bit of an exercise really on the causes of the human activities that lead to contributing to this issue of climate change, and to be honest, the breathtaking widespread implications that has. So things like burning fossil fuels, which is obviously a bad thing, and we've known about that for a very long time, and how complete combustion contributes to carbon dioxide production. Incomplete combustion can produce aerosols, which has quite significant implications for human health and lots of other aspects as well. If you think of the world as a whole, it's just such a beautiful place, and we need to do something about it. We need to stop this from happening, and we all need to do our bit, even small changes, and there are some significant impacts that we can have with very little change, like reducing meat consumption, which has a big impact. So our burning of fossil fuels, which is obviously quite a big thing, can have direct and indirect consequences. I'm not going to go through it in huge detail, but acidification of the oceans, which has implications on food chain, agriculture, the effects of warming, so increased CO2 production. It basically acts like a blanket for the earth, locking hot temperatures in, and then that has further implications in human health and stuff like that. Lots of aspects. Anyway, it's such a fascinating session. Hopefully I'll undergo some more training to become a facilitator in that, because I think it's got very wide-ranging implications, and then maybe to include it in the teaching units that I'm involved in. And there was talk about trying to run a pilot study this year in medical microbiology and infectious diseases, but more to come on that anyway. At some point we'll take a look. So we've just passed under the Clifton Suspension Bridge, and that's a really beautiful bridge built by Isambard Kingdom Brunel quite a long time ago in Bristol. It's a great example of a suspension bridge that's held up over the River Avon. You have to pay to get across it now, and I think it's like £1. So what's been going on? So it's Tuesday, had a couple of days in the lab with students, and they've been making some really great progress actually this week. So their projects are looking at novel antimicrobial producing environmental organisms. So they go out into the real world, they swab some areas like streams and soil, and then we culture the bacteria or fungi, find out if they can inhibit the growth of or kill our selected pathogenic bacteria. So they've each chosen 2 pathogens, and they've all chosen Candida albicans, which is a dimorphic fungus, which I did my PhD on, and this is what it looks like. It's a really fascinating fungus, and about half of us carry it in our mouth or gut or mucosal surfaces like vaginas, and some of them have chosen E. coli, which is another gut bacterium there was a recent outbreak of E. coli that they traced back to salad leaves. Can cause a stomach upset or a dicky tummy. Generally it's not serious, but sometimes it can be, and sometimes it can kill people, as it did in that outbreak, unfortunately. Some of them have chosen Staphylococcus aureus. So if you think of MRSA, which you may know from the media, the SA bit is Staphylococcus aureus, which is the name of the bacterium, and about a third of us will carry that, normally in our nasopharynx, or the nose and throat areas. Can be a big problem, especially if it gets into places that it shouldn't do. It's an opportunistic pathogen, so it can exist normally with us without problems, but sometimes it can cause quite severe infections. And MRSA in particular is a resistant form, so we don't have many drugs or medicines that can treat it, unfortunately. And we're seeing more and more of that, so we'll talk about antimicrobial resistance at some point in another episode, but not for today's musings. So the students have done their contact assays, where we co-culture their candidates and their pathogens to see whether we can stop the pathogens growing, and they've done their liquid kill assays, and now we want to find out what their candidates are. So to do that, we have to get the DNA. And DNA is a helical structure, and they basically break open the cells, isolate the DNA and clean it up, and then we can use it for sequencing. So we can clean up the DNA, send it away to a company, and they'll sequence that fragment of DNA that we're interested in, and it's called the 16S region for bacteria, which is what we're looking at. And then we can find out what it is, so we can check against databases and align the sequence and find out what their bacterium is. So that's the idea behind their project, and hopefully we'll get some really good data in the next couple of days for that, and they're enjoying it. And actually it's not a particularly difficult process. A lot of science is like following a recipe and actually developing a new protocol. Protocols are already established and they've been used, so we can use that to our advantage by just following essentially the recipe that other people have done. But what does it mean for the students? Well, it means that they generate lots of technical skills that they can use in jobs or research if they choose to go on to that aspect of their career. So these are master's level students. They've already got 1 degree and they've decided to focus on research to get their masters, and they're all very competent, so I'm really pleased with the progress that they've been able to make this year. Oh, why we go so slow? So we've got another glorious day. It was raining last night and I was a bit worried that it would continue into today, but actually it's very warm, 23 degrees according to the bike. So it certainly feels 23 degrees. It is very nice, perfect biking weather. Hi. Those pops are so cool. So I'm really pleased with this screen as well. So this is the new touring or Puig touring screen that I purchased whilst at the Adventure Bike Rider Festival, and in terms of wind protection it's bloody amazing. It's really, really good. I had a very similar screen on the Tracer 900 before I bought the GS, and then when I got the GS it only had the standard screen, which was quite low, and it was sort of directing all the wind to the middle of my helmet. So with the Neotech 3, the Shui Neotech 3 helmet, it was actually very, very noisy inside with the vents open. The vents are great, and I'd rather be ventilated and deal with the noise. But this particular screen is directing it. It is a little bit high because the crest is just in my eye line, so it's kind of splitting the road. But other than that, it's perfect. But what the guy didn't tell me was that I absolutely need these metal brackets, because otherwise the screen was wobbling all over at high speeds. Anything from about 50, the screen would start to wobble, and in turbulent air behind the vehicle was really bad, to the point that I was concerned at some stages that it was just going to wiggle itself free. It was really wobbly, but these brackets have made it completely fixed in place, so I'm really, really pleased with that. It does mean it's increased the price by another 50% though, because it was like £97 for the screen and then another £55 for the brackets. So a bit expensive, but absolutely necessary. Let's see if we can get through these. Made a bit of progress. I've also got custom fit guards on order. So these are custom molded ear protection, and I went for the CF Ride option with the dual drivers. So they actually come with speakers as part of the in-ear bits. Ooh, that doesn't look very good. So it's quite a long process to get those because they have to mould your ears, and I did it whilst at the ABR festival, so I didn't have to pay for moulding. They just did it as part of the service, and they kindly applied the online discount. So there's lots of codes that you can use, CFG10, and I know a lot of other motor vloggers have got their own codes, so you can quite easily find a discount code. It's like 10% off. So it came to about £230 all in. But they last 5 or 6 years, so hopefully that'll be a worthwhile investment. And I don't currently ride with ear protection, so I absolutely should. There's 6 or 7 different stages that it goes through, like moulding, cutting, lacquering, and then the last stage is electronics, and we're at that last stage now. So hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll get those back. I'll do a review on those when they do arrive, unboxing and all that. Also been listening to the Brew Time podcast by Teapot One recently, and I have kind of chosen to look at ones like Richie Vida, who's another one, Girl on a Bike, and listen to Flyer, and currently listen to the live stream that they all did together with Lamb Chops as well. Next on my list is Hippodrones, who I was hoping to catch up with at ABR, but unfortunately wasn't able to. But I bought tickets for next year, so very keen to go again. I won't be doing the trail again, but I will be attending, and looking forward, to be honest, to listening to some more talks. Hi, hi, hi. What else has happened recently? Oh, one of my students, Maria, who has come to do some work experience for the next week or so. So it's nice to have her in the lab. I think she's learned a lot, and hopefully she'll take that into year 2 and year 3 of her degree now. But anyway, we were talking about science books, and she recommended a new book that has only very recently been published, and it's What If Fungi Win? So I'm very keen to buy that. I think it's only about £12 on Amazon, so I'm going to take a look at getting that. Let's do some filtering. Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes I can't say thank you to everybody, but it does make a huge difference if you move over just a little bit. See? We just moved very slightly to the right. I could get through, and then we could all be on our way. I don't know why I did that, but see? That's all that needs to happen. Thank you very much. Oh, there's another bike behind us. Thanks for closing that gap. So yeah, looking forward to rugby coaching this evening. Glorious weather for it. But I've only got 20 minutes to get home, get changed and get there, so I have to get a move on. So we've been talking about names for this kind of segment or series of vlogs that don't really have anything particular to them. And I really liked Musings of a Motorcycling Microbiologist, but my brothers were less keen on that one, so ChatGPT helped and gave us some suggestions, and through adapting those suggestions eventually we came up with Reflections from the Road. So we'll keep that. I think that sounds pretty good. But in the meantime, that's me done. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and for watching the video on the channel. It'd mean a lot if you could give us a like, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. It's in the very early days, and I'm sure there'll be much more to come. But that like and subscribe and comments will help me grow. If there's something specific you want me to talk about, then I can do that. If there's a particular theme that you're interested in, I'm happy to bring that on then as well. Anyway, thanks for your time. I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye. And there's the stadium, Cwmbran Stadium, home of Cwmbran, well, something or other. There's lots, I don't know. Maybe not include that bit.